The princess falls from the sky. The night was quiet in the forest. The only sound was the wind moving through the trees. Then, something strange happened. A bright light shot across the sky like a burning star. It was fast, loud, and huge. The light crashed into the forest with a deep rumble. The ground shook, birds flew away, animals ran. Trees caught fire. Jack was sitting in his small wooden cabin at the edge of the forest. He was a young man around 22 years old, quiet and kind. He lived alone, liked peace, and fixed machines for fun. But when he saw the light fall from the sky, something inside him said, "Go there." Jack grabbed his flashlight and ran toward the crash. The trees were smoking. The air smelled like burned metal. As he moved closer, he saw something behind the broken trees. It wasn't a rock. It was a ship. A spaceship. It was half buried in the dirt, large, round, and glowing with strange blue lights. The surface was smooth and silver, but cracked and broken in places. Jack's heart was beating fast. Was this real? He stepped closer. The ship door was half open. Smoke came out from inside. And then he saw her. Lying near the door was a girl. She looked human, but not completely. Her hair was long and silver. Her skin had a soft glow. She wore armor made of shining metal, and her body was covered in cuts and burns. Her eyes were closed, and she was bleeding from her arm. Jack froze. Was she alive? He knelt beside her. "Hey, can you hear me?" he asked softly. Her eyes opened, glowing violet. She stared at him. For a second she looked confused. Then her eyes turned sharp. She tried to sit up, winced, and pointed something at him, a small glowing blade on her wrist. Jack raised his hands. "Whoa, I'm not here to hurt you." She said something in a strange language. Her voice was soft but powerful. Her body shook from weakness. Jack took a deep breath. "Look, you're hurt. Let me help you." She stared at him for a moment. Her eyes softened. She lowered her arm and passed out. Jack looked around. The ship was making strange sounds, hissing, clicking, like it was about to explode. He had to move fast. He gently lifted her in his arms. She was light but cold to the touch, like touching ice. He ran back to his cabin through the smoke and fire. Back at the cabin, Jack laid her down on a soft blanket. He cleaned her wounds with warm water. He had no idea what species she was, but she was alive. Her breathing was slow and deep. He noticed a symbol on her armor. It looked royal, like a crown with wings. "Who are you?" he whispered. The next morning, she woke up. Her eyes opened wide. She sat up quickly and looked around the small wooden room. Then she saw Jack. "Stay back," she said, this time in English. Her voice was heavy with an accent. Jack raised his hands again. "Hey, it's okay. You were hurt. I helped you." She looked at the bandages on her arm, then back at him. Her eyes were full of pride and suspicion. "You touched me. You were bleeding." "Yes," Jack replied. She looked away, almost ashamed. "I don't need help from humans." Jack frowned. "Okay, then next time I'll let you bleed out." She blinked, then looked at him with surprise. Maybe she didn't expect him to talk back. He walked to the door. "You can leave if you want, but you're safe here." She was silent for a while. Then she spoke softly. "My name is Virelia. Was a princess." Jack turned. "A princess?" She nodded slowly. "My ship was attacked. My people, they're gone. I escaped, but they're hunting me." Jack's face turned serious. "Who's hunting you?" She looked out the window. "The traitors. And if they find me, they will destroy everything, even this planet." Before Jack could reply, they heard a sharp noise outside. A drone, black, small, and floating, buzzed near the cabin. Virelia jumped up. "They're here." Jack grabbed his old hunting rifle. Not for long. Hunted by shadows, the drone hovered like a black ghost outside Jack's cabin. It didn't make much sound, but the sound it did make was sharp, like a knife cutting air. A red eye blinked at the window. Watching, scanning Dot inside, Jack held his breath. So did Varelia. Her hand moved to the glowing blade on her wrist. Jack slowly reached for his hunting rifle. "Don't shoot," she whispered. "It will alert them." Jack whispered back. "Who are they?" She didn't answer. Her eyes stayed locked on the window. The drone blinked once, twice, then zipped away. Into the trees. Gone. But not for long. Varelia exhaled. "They found me. It has begun." That night, Jack sat by the fire. He tried to make sense of it all. Across from him, Varelia sat like a statue. Her silver armor glowed faintly in the firelight. Her face was calm, but her eyes told another story, a story full of pain and fear. So, Jack broke the silence. "Alien soldiers. Chasing a space princess. That's my life now." Varelia didn't smile. "You saved me. That makes you a target now." Jack looked into the fire. "You said your people are gone, all of them?" She nodded. "They attacked my father's ship first, then the palace, then the planet. All gone in one night." Her voice cracked for the first time. "I was supposed to lead them. But I ran." Jack leaned forward. "Running isn't weakness. It's survival." Varelia looked at him. "You don't understand. Where I'm from, leaders die before they run." Suddenly, the lights in the cabin flickered. Then bang! The door flew open. A shadow stepped inside. Not a man. Not a robot. Something in between. It was tall and thin, with black metal arms and a glowing faceplate. It moved like liquid steel, fast, silent. Varelia jumped to her feet. "Shadow Walker!" she hissed. Jack aimed and fired. Boom. The robot slid aside like smoke. The bullet missed. It raised its hand. Energy gathered at the fingertips. Then Varelia moved, like a flash of lightning. She spun, jumped, and stabbed. Her blade cut through the robot's neck. Sparks flew. The machine staggered and collapsed, still twitching. Jack stared. "You could have warned me you were a ninja." She didn't reply. She just stood over the broken machine, breathing hard. Then Jack noticed her arm bleeding again. He grabbed the first aid kit. "Sit now, let me help." Varelia hesitated, then sat down. "You really care, even for someone not of your world," Jack smiled. "You bleed. You breathe, you swear, you're close enough." As Jack wrapped her wound, Varelia looked outside. More red lights blinked deep in the forest. "They're not stopping," she whispered. "This world, it's not ready for them." Jack followed her gaze. "Then teach me, help me fight them." She looked at him. "You, a farmer? I fix engines. I shoot deer. I run toward fireballs. That makes me crazy enough." Varelia looked at him for a long time. Then she nodded. "Fine, but once you start this path, there's no turning back." Jack smiled. "I wasn't planning on it." Later that night, Jack opened a drawer and pulled out a dusty photo. It showed him as a boy, standing with two people, his parents. Both gone now. He looked at the picture, then at Varelia, who had finally fallen asleep on the couch. "She lost a planet," he whispered, "and I lost a family." Outside, another drone flew by. And far above Earth, in the darkness of space, something massive moved, as ship-shaped, like a black blade. It was coming. The secret in her blood. It began with a drop of blood. Red, glowing, and not normal. It shimmered like liquid light. Jack had seen blood before, on the farm, on the battlefield when he served, even from his own wounds. But never like this. Never something that pulsed with power. He had been fixing her bandage, same as the night before, when his fingers slipped and touched her cut. Just one drop of her blood touched his skin, and his body changed. The tiny cut on his finger closed. Instantly. His vision sharpened. His mind cleared. For a moment, he felt like he could hear every tree in the forest breathing. Jack pulled his hand away, shocked. What was that? Varelia opened her eyes slowly. What did you do? I should ask you that, he said, shaking his hand. Your blood healed me. Her eyes went wide. No, that's not possible. But Jack saw it. Her face had gone pale. Her lips parted, and she whispered something in her own language. Then she stood up fast. Too fast. What is it? Jack asked. What's wrong? I need to show you something. She took him into the forest, not far just. Past the old stream and the broken tree struck by lightning last year. They reached a cave. Jack had never seen it before. Inside, strange glowing marks were on the walls. Varelia walked to the center and placed her hand on a stone plate. The ground rumbled. A small console rose from the earth, ancient and alien. It's a memory. Vault, she said. My father left it for me, in case I ever made it to Earth. She pressed a button. A hologram appeared, a tall, proud man in golden armor. Her father, the last emperor of Ilari. Daughter, the message began. If you are hearing this, then I am gone, and your world is lost. But not all is lost. Jack watched in silence. Emperor's voice was calm, but strong. You carry more than blood, Varelia. You carry the seed. She stepped back. No. The voice continued. The seed is the last living piece of the core mind, the force that built stars, healed planets, and created life across the galaxies. It now lives. In you. Jack looked at her, stunned. You're carrying a god? She didn't answer. She looked like she was about to break. The hologram faded. Outside the cave, wind howled through the trees. Varelia sat on a rock, holding her head in her hands. I didn't know, she whispered. They didn't tell me. My whole life, I thought. I was being trained to rule. But really, they were protecting this. Jack sat beside her. That's why they're hunting you. Yes, she nodded. If the wrong hands touch the seed, it will become a weapon. One strong enough to control worlds. Jack was quiet for a long time. Then he looked at his hand again, the one that touched her blood. It reacted to me. Yes, she said, which means part of it is waking up. Jack looked into her eyes. So what now? She stood up. Now we train. Because if you touched it and lived, then it chose you. Back at the cabin, Varelia showed him how to move faster, how to see energy flows, how to sense danger before it arrived. It was hard. Jack stumbled, fell, and swore a lot, but he kept getting up, and that made her smile for the first time in days. Later, as they sat by the fire, Jack asked, Is this seed thing alive? She nodded. In a way, it listens, it remembers. And sometimes it speaks. Has it ever spoken to you? Varelia looked into the flames. Her voice went soft. It spoke. The night my planet burned. It said, find the light in the dark. I didn't understand. Jack nodded. Maybe you weren't supposed to, yet. Suddenly, an alert on her wrist lit up red and loud. She stood. They're close. Jack grabbed his rifle. How close? Varelia closed her eyes. Too close. Above the forest, black ships cut through the clouds like silent knives. Inside one of them stood a figure in silver-black armor. His eyes burned with dark fire. He looked down at Earth and smiled. It begins. Learning the alien way, the first thing Jack had to learn was how to fall. And he did. A lot, onto the dirt. Into the trees, off a log. Even straight into a bush, filled with thorns. But each time he got back up. And each time, Varelia was there, watching with arms crossed and that same cold look on her face. Or so he thought, because deep inside her, something had begun to change. This human, this simple, stubborn, foolish human was trying. Not because he had to, but because he chose to. Again, she said, tossing him a glowing disc. Jack caught it. It pulsed with blue light. What's this? He asked. She smirked. It's a learning core, you'll see. The disc activated. In his hands, suddenly, his mind was full of images, moves, weapons, fighting forms, pressure points, weak spots in alien armor, all flowing into his brain like a river of knowledge. Jack stumbled, dizzy. Okay, that felt like drinking lightning. Varelia nodded. It will pass. That was just the basics. He looked up at her wide-eyed. Basics? They trained in the forest. She taught him how to hold an energy blade. Not like a sword, but like a thought-fast fluid. Unpredictable. He learned to see in darkness, to track footsteps without sound, to read heat patterns in the air. His body hurt. His muscles screamed. But he kept going, because every time he looked at her sitting quietly on a rock, staring at the sky like she missed a home that no longer existed, he remembered why. He wanted her to feel safe, even here. Even with nothing left. One night after training, Jack lay flat on the grass, panting. I think I broke my everything, he groaned. Varelia stood over him. You lasted longer today. Your strikes were cleaner. Jack blinked. Was that a compliment? She raised one eyebrow. Don't get used to it. He smiled. You're warming up. No, she said quickly. That's your sweat cloud making the air warmer. But she was smiling too. Just a little later, Jack showed her something strange, a firefly in his hand. It glowed softly, blinking with life. This world has its own magic, he said. Just not your kind. Varelia watched it fly. It's simple, but beautiful. Jack glanced at her. You used to see beauty? She nodded. Before the war. Before I had to be a sword. They were quiet for a moment. Then she said, Do you know why I keep training you? He shrugged. Because I look good falling? She chuckled. Then, more serious, because I don't want to be the only one standing when the end comes. That night, the stars above them shimmered, but far beyond, hidden in the dark, a new danger moved. Inside the enemy ship, the traitor watched Jack's training through stolen drone feeds. He leaned forward, cold eyes glowing. So, the seed reacts to him. He turned to his soldier. Prepare the phantom net. We take the human alive. Back in the cabin, Jack stared at the glowing cuts on his arm. Not painful, just pulsing faint blue. The seed's energy was spreading. Varelia sat nearby, eyes heavy. You don't have to do this, she said softly. You could run. Leave me. Live. Jack shook his head. I already made my choice. She looked at him, really looked. You're just a human. Why would you fight? For me? He met her gaze. Because you were left with nothing, he said. But I'm here now. The human and the betrayer. He arrived with sunlight behind him. A clean-cut man in a gray suit. Calm eyes, warm smile. He stood on the porch of Jack's cabin like a friendly neighbor offering pie. Name's Agent Crow, he said, flashing a badge. From the Global Defense Unit. We're here to help. But Varelia didn't smile. She didn't move. She didn't even blink. Because something inside her screamed. Danger. Jack shook the man's hand. You're early. We didn't call anyone. Oh, we're always watching the skies, Agent. Crow replied smoothly. We saw your visitor crash. We figured you could use support. Jack looked at Varelia. She said nothing. Just stared at the agent with cold eyes. Crow turned to her, still smiling. And you must be our mysterious guest from the stars. Welcome to Earth. Still, no reply. Jack stepped in. She's shy, Crow chuckled. No problem. We just want to keep you safe. But when Crow left that evening, promising to return with a full support team, Varelia grabbed Jack's arm. That man is not what he seems, she whispered. His energy is wrong. His words are right, but his soul is dark. Jack frowned. What are you saying? She looked him in the eyes. I think he's not human. That night, Varelia activated a hidden scanner in her armor. She replayed the moment Crow touched Jack's hand, behind the smile. A shadow behind the badge. A pulse of energy that did not belong to Earth. Jack watched the scan turn red. So he's one of them? Not just one of them, she whispered. He's him. Far above Earth, in the dark void, a call was answered. Inside a command ship shaped like a spider, a figure stood in front of a mirror. He removed the skin mask. Underneath, black veins, silver eyes, and a cruel smile. Still soft, sister, he whispered to Varelia's image. Still trusting. Still weak. The next day, Agent Crow returned. But this time he wasn't alone. 2 black SUVs rolled up the dirt road. 5 agents stepped out. All looked normal. All smiled. Too perfectly, Crow knocked again. Time to talk. Jack opened the door with a calm face. Sure, he said. Let's talk. Inside, Varelia was ready. Jack led Crow into the cabin. The lights dimmed. The door locked behind them. Crow turned. What is this? Varelia stepped from the shadows. Take off the face. Crow laughed. Excuse me? She raised her blade. Take it off. Crow sighed. You always were too clever. He touched his cheek. The illusion dropped. The man before them was not human. It was her brother, Prince Keller, once a prince. Now a traitor, the one who burned their world, the one who killed their father, the one who wanted the seed, still hiding. Behind primitives, he sneered at her. Varelia's blade lit up. Still wearing masks? Keller looked at Jack. You must be the new toy. Tell me, Earthman. How does it feel to hold something the galaxy would kill for? Jack aimed his rifle. Why don't you come and find out? Keller smiled, then vanished in a flash of black light. Outside, the agents dropped to the ground. Empty shells. Puppets without strings. Jack locked the cabin doors. What was that? Varelia stared into space. My brother. I thought he was dead. Jack's voice dropped. What does he want? She turned to him. He wants me. But more than that. He wants what's waking up inside you. That night, Varelia didn't sleep. She stood outside staring at the stars, remembering her palace, her people. Her father. Everything stolen by the boy she once called brother. And now, he had found her again. But this time, she wasn't alone. Earth in the crossfire. At exactly 2:17 a.m., the sky turned black. Not dark. Black. Like ink spilling across the stars. Like something big was coming and wanted to cover its tracks. Cities noticed first. Satellites blinked out. Internet crashed. Phones went dead. Airports shut down. The moon vanished behind a thick black curtain. People stood outside their homes, looking up, whispering. Is it a storm? Is it the sun? Is it them? Far away, in a secret underground bunker, military generals stared at radar screens flashing red. Thousands of objects were entering Earth's orbit, silent, fast, no radio signal. No I. One general leaned forward and said the words no one wanted to hear. This is not a drill. Back in the forest, Jack stepped out of the cabin. The trees around him felt quiet, like even nature was holding its breath. Varelia stood barefoot on the grass, eyes closed, armor glowing. They're here, she said softly. Jack followed her gaze upward. He couldn't see the ships yet, but he felt them. Like pressure in his chest. Like a storm coming from above, not around. How many? He asked. Her voice didn't shake. More than this planet can handle. Inside, Varelia activated a holographic map. Hundreds of red markers circled Earth like hungry sharks. Her hands moved fast, tracing paths, scanning signals, searching for any sign of weakness. They'll start with the outer defenses, satellites, communication, power grids. Then the military bases, then the cities. Jack swallowed hard. Can we stop them? Varelia turned to him. We can't stop the storm, but we can guide the lightning. They packed quickly. Jack took his rifle, the pulse gloves, and the seed-linked disc now fused to his palm. Varelia took her blade and the last beacon from her father's vault. One message left. One chance to call the old allies of her people. If any were still alive, they drove through back roads, dirt, mud, trees flying by. Above them, silent ships flickered between clouds, like wolves circling a farm. Suddenly dash boom. A flash of light. Behind them, a town. Gone. In seconds. Jack slammed the brakes. They're attacking civilians? They're warning the planet, Virelia said bitterly. Surrender or burn. They reached a signal tower on a mountain peak, broken. Rusted, but it still had power. Virelia climbed to the top. Plugged in the beacon. Spoke into the stars. This is Princess Virelia of Ilari. Earth is under siege. Any free world, any living resistance, if you hear this, help us. She pressed send. Then collapsed. Jack caught her. The seed inside her was glowing too bright. Too hot. It's using too much of you, he whispered. She looked up. It's waking. And it wants to fight. As they left the tower, Virelia turned to him. There's something I need you to know. Jack frowned. What? She touched his chest right above his heart. If I fall, the seed may choose you. And if it does, protect it. Even from me. Jack grabbed her hand. You're not falling, not today. But far above, inside the command ship, Keller stood at a dark window. He watched the earth spin below. Let her run, he said. Let her hope. He turned to a row of soldiers' machines made of shadow and code. Begin phase 1. Burn their sky. Back on Earth, lightning cracked through black clouds. Fire rained from above. And humanity finally looked up. Not at the stars, but at war. Wrapped in his arms, the sky was bleeding fire. Cities burned in silence. Satellites fell like shooting stars. The oceans trembled. In the middle of it all, on the ruins of a broken Earth, stood a girl who had lost a planet. And a boy who had nothing but his heart. Virelia stood on a cracked rooftop, armor scorched, eyes glowing with pain and fury. Across from her, Keller hovered in the air, wrapped in black energy. His silver eyes burned like ice. He smiled. Sister, you never learn. She didn't speak. She just raised her blade. The final battle had begun. Jack was below, in the wreckage, dodging fire and debris. He wasn't supposed to fight gods. But he wasn't running. The seed inside him pulsed like a second heart. Every step he took, it grew louder. Not with words, but with a feeling. She cannot win without you. Up above, Keller moved like lightning. Blades of dark matter sliced through the sky. Virelia met him blow for blow, spinning, striking, dodging. Her blade lit up the darkness with every swing, but she was weakening. Keller laughed. Still protecting the weak? Still chasing hope? He struck hard, sending her crashing through a wall. She hit the ground hard. Her blade fell from her hand. She didn't move. Jack ran to her side. Her eyes opened slowly. He's too strong. Jack held her. Then let me carry it with you. Her hand touched his chest one last time. The seed answered. A bright light exploded from Jack's body, golden, pure, alive. It wrapped around him like armor, like memory, like a promise. He stood, not as a soldier, not as a hero, but as a human who chose love over fear. Keller floated down, frowning. You? Jack nodded. Me. They fought. Not with strength, but with something deeper. Jack moved with instinct, with fire, with heart. Every punch he threw echoed like thunder. Every blast of energy came from something ancient and human. Keller faltered for the first time. He was afraid. This can't be, he hissed. You're nothing. Jack stepped forward. I'm everything you forgot how to be. With one final burst of power, Jack struck. Keller screamed as light tore through him, burning the shadow from his bones. And then silence. The warship above cracked in half. The skies cleared. The stars returned. Earth lived. Jack fell to his knees. The seed inside him faded. Calm again. He turned to Varelia, who was barely breathing. He crawled to her side, lifted her gently, wrapped her in his arms. She opened her eyes and whispered, "You stayed." He smiled. "I told you. You were never alone." She leaned against him, and for the first time in her life, the galaxy's last princess let herself rest, not on a throne, but in the arms of a human who never let go. Epilogue. Weeks later, the world slowly healed. People told stories of the battle of ships, lights, and the woman from the stars. But Jack? He didn't tell his story. He lived it. With her, under the same sky they once saved.